And welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, Gungans, droids, catty booty conuts with those extended foreheads. Of course, the creepy looking plagueis people lurking in the shadows for reasons we may never find out again. I don't care what you are in that spectrum of species. All I know is that, yo, there's a problem. We gotta solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Jokes aside, people, we kind of got this issue that's, man, it's been needing to be addressed for a long time in Star Wars Galaxy. Time commitment. Today, we got some unfortunate news in our Star Wars Galaxy community. We see this happen over the course of the years. It's never a happy day when this happens. Let me just, before we get further into this, at least for me personally, one of my favorite things about this game compared to other games I've played, the community is awesome. It's like a small town type of community that you have. Everyone kind of knows each other. There's kind of a place for everyone. If you like loud Star Wars partying people, that's me. I'm a little crazy. Then you got other folks that might fit more of your personality, what you're looking for out there. That kind of vibes with you a bit better. Or if you don't like any of those stupid YouTubers that talk about games, lame! You got the Reddit community, for example. You got the guides that you can read. Anyways, the point I'm getting at, today we had some unfortunate news dropped on us that one of our members in our community, Sarah, stepped away from the game. I'm gonna leave a link down below, card in the top right-hand corner. Feel free to check out the Great Expectations podcast with her and Zareth. We're basically, the long story short of it, if you want the summarization, the time commitment in this game is high. And as we're gonna see through even my own data, the target demographic for this game, it's generally people that are busy people, you know? Kids aren't really playing this game, as we're gonna discuss here. But before we start getting into the nitty gritty kind of discussing this and really the core problem that I don't know if it's gonna get fixed. There's kind of a dichotomy dilemma when it comes to this. But anyways, I first want to say, Sarah, thank you so much for being a part of our Star Wars Galaxy community. The door's always open for you to come back. And she kind of said that, you know, who knows, maybe a month or two from now, maybe she missed being on that hamster wheel with us, and she might get back with us in this crazy game called Star Wars Galaxy. But nonetheless, the reason why she had to step away was the time commitment for this game is too much. I mean, just after this 3v3 Grand Arena is over, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna have territory battles. You're gonna have conquest. You're gonna have your Naboo raid, which, oh my gosh, I did mine today. It's like, oh my God, it takes forever to get through it. And then all the other miscellaneous things, like the stupid mod event for Java that you can't sim for whatever reason. And then all the other nooks and crannies of logging in, do your dailies. The time commitment for this game, especially if you want to be competitive or you want to keep up, it's awfully darn high. And oftentimes it doesn't feel like a rewarding experience. We're gonna go kind of more into all these different game modes here in a second, but I want to bring this up first. I want to bring up the target demographic for Star Wars Galaxy. I feel like a lot of you guys could probably understand. You're likely maybe someone that's in college. Maybe you're someone that's just got out of college. You're getting your first job. Or a lot of you folks are probably adults with your own families. You got careers that are already kind of on the boat moving forward. How do I know this? Well, because I was one of them that went through that whole progression. But number two, I have my own data that kind of would suggest a similar story. So let me go ahead, show you my analytics here. Oh, I can't believe it. 25% of you guys aren't subscribed. Don't even get me started. You're gonna make me cry. But the most important thing I want to show is the age categories here. This is gonna be important. Let me get to it. Contrary to popular belief, I love that. You know, it's okay. I would hate that myself too if I was in a lot of people's situations. But oftentimes there's a misconception that my audience is all kids. It is far from the truth. My audience, I feel like, mimics the target demographic of Star Wars Galaxy. As we can see here, you know, only about 3% of you guys are under 18. And the second biggest population group are folks between 18 and 24. So college years. Maybe you're going to, you know, your postgraduate school. Maybe you're going to law school like I did. Maybe you're going to med school. All that stuff. And then the most prominent group that we have, 34% of the people that watch my videos are between the ages of 25 and 34. So you're out of college, you know, you're working on a career, the career's on its way, you probably have a family, you got kids, all these other responsibilities. And then the next big demographic is 19.9%, which are people within 35 to 44. And again, this makes sense for multiple reasons. If you want to be able to enjoy this game at the fullest, number one, you probably need to have some pockets that have maybe a little hole at the bottom of the wallet where the money drops out. Somehow the game keeps charging your credit card. How does that happen? That's number one. Number two, if we just understand Star Wars in general, it kind of spans a wide gap, or I should say multiple generations. It's one of the few intellectual properties that has permeated, that has pushed through, broken through the boundaries of multiple generations. I mean, you can think of like even Pokemon kind of has done that. Marvel has kind of done that. Star Wars makes sense. A lot of people that enjoy Star Wars, you know, you've had some miles on you. Trust me, my mileage is getting up there as well. I get it. So the point I'm bringing this up is because when you take into consideration that a lot of people are either professional, family type of people with kids, responsibilities, or you're in college. Like my next brother in line, he's in college. He doesn't really have that much time for all the games he played as a kid. Galaxy of Heroes works well because you can kind of pick it up here and there. But even him, it's like, man, I got to do all this stuff. It's becoming a lot. The reason why I bring this up again, I could go on and on about this, just kind of talk about our community that we have here. The reason why I bring this up is because why then are we being burdened? It's a harsh word, burden. Why are we being tasked with all of these activities ranging from, you know, territory wars? Let's just bring up the game real quick here. You know, there's a territory wars that's currently, you know, going on. I don't want to get too much into it, but right now, territory war model is pretty flawed, especially if you want to be competitive. I know guild leaders that are up literally all night coordinating wars because the way the attack phase works is absolutely absurd. You know, the fact that people have to kind of check in multiple times throughout the day to do a territory, check it on the guild, see what's going on. That's a problem in itself. 3v3 Grand Arena is currently in swing, and generally 3v3 Grand Arena requires more time. I don't have the data in front of me. This is another thing that perplexes me, but I recall a while ago, someone had some data that showed that there were less signups in 3v3 Grand Arena than 5v5. And we don't need to go through all the reasons. You know, obviously, number one, a lot more time. People don't like the 3v3 format nearly as much, and some people do, and that's fine. But again, we're creating events and tasks that people don't even really want to engage with. They feel like they just kind of have to. And then, of course, as I said, next week, this is my least favorite week of all time that we get like every single month. It's when Conquest and territory battles and the raids and all the other miscellaneous things kind of align at once. And I think one of the biggest things that I would hope the developers can do is somehow a quality of life which minimizes time. Like, you know, territory wars, there could be a solution to that. There's many solutions to territories that I've explained over the years. Whether or not to get to it, I don't know. Other games I feel like do their territory war formula a lot better than the Galaxies. I play like 4 or 5 different hero collector games that have a guild versus guild element. I'd say Galaxies is dead last when it comes to that, plain and simple. And then we have the issue, for example, with the raids. I just did my raid just earlier today. Man, this thing just takes forever. We knew this is one of the core criticism of the Naboo raid. Like, okay, cool, we got cool cutscenes. It's, you know, it's more thematic. It makes a little bit more sense. But my gosh, can we cut the waves down, like the number of waves by like 2 at least? Like the fact that you have to go through like, what is it, 5, 6 B1 battle droid waves, however many. It takes a long time, like 15, 20 minutes on full auto. On full auto. Like that. Do people actually play the raid on manual? My gosh, you're probably doing like 30 minutes an attempt or something like that. And this kind of stacks up over time. And of course, you know, there's other events, you know, like the Jabba mod event, whatever it's called, the Scout Smugglers Run, where I think we have one, but this isn't, I think we missed it. Just the other day, it's like, why isn't that simmable? If you 3-star, it should be simmable. Or even like, for example, you know, it's funny, they stretch out Conquest for so long, and then you get like this small window to do the Journey's End or whatever the heck it is, the Galactic Legend Journey event that happens right after Conquest or Proving Grounds. Like, you get this small window for the things that really do matter. They're like, all right, you only have a small window. So anyways, I think the biggest thing that really needs to be addressed, you know, the game's gonna get new characters. The game's doing fine. It looks like financially, it's all, you know, it's funny. EA the other day, they had their little their little financial check-in or whatever, their investor call, and they're bragging. It's like, oh yeah, Star Wars, our Star Wars gaming portfolio has made over $5 billion, which, funny enough, they didn't really say it, but Galaxy Heroes has made more money than all the other EA Star Wars games combined, at least over half of it. So I think it's kind of funny that even EA, they don't really want to address the elephant in the room, that this is the game that's kind of keeping the Star Wars gaming revenue afloat. Hold their conversation. But the point I'm getting at here, you know, I think seeing Sarah's, you know, discussion today about the time commitment in this game, especially for people that are in this core demographic, like myself, like many of you guys, where you have all these responsibilities. And a lot of these things that they make you do, it's just, they're not always enjoyable. And again, I know some people love the hell out of Conquest. Some people are a glutton for punishment, and you know, to each their own. That's the beauty about our world here. But I feel like by and large, and then I don't have the data to support it. Just kind of a vibe, a pulse on the kind of community is that a lot of these things just add up to so much time being committed that people just like, you know, I'm burnt out. This isn't really fun. I feel like I'm not getting meaningful reward for the time commitment that I'm putting in. And it's not just Sarah. I've been seeing, for example, even my guild. Some people are like, you know what? I gotta dip out. You know, this game is requiring too much time. I gotta step away from the game. And that's unfortunate. And, you know, we see that Capital Games, you know, we said this, one of the unfortunate truths of games like this, you know, everyone's got a certain amount of time they're gonna play this game before they dip. And the question is, how do you get new people in so that you can kind of funnel them through the whole process again? So we see new player acquisition things being changed to try to get new blood inside of our Galaxy Heroes process. But again, eventually those new players are gonna hit this wall where they're hit with like territory battles and conquest and raids in a single day. It's a little overwhelming, I feel like. And here's the double-edged sword here. Here's the biggest problem that I really want to address. This is the dichotomy of a gamer. There's too much to do. There's not enough to do. You know, there might be a day where Capital Games, they address some of the time commitment stuff that's needed for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Maybe, maybe not. They do make, you know, things simple over time. And then, you know, maybe at one point we're gonna be like, man, I feel like there's nothing to do in this game. I think at the minimum, if we have to keep everything that we currently have, like we needed the 2-week of Conquest, it needs to be grindy. We need the, again, and we don't. We've had Conquest be a lot more friendly earlier on. You're able to do Conquest in like in a single day if you wanted to, and that's not the case anymore. You need several days to do it at the minimum if you're really pushing hard. At the minimum, can we spread it out more? Like, you know, there are some days, for example, like you just have a grand arena. It's like, all right, that's it. And then they jam pack everything in like 1 week of the raids, the territory battles, and the conquest. Like, could we maybe like rework the schedule a little bit? So maybe on the slower weeks, you know, you kind of like spread things out a bit more. I feel like at the very minimum, just an adjustment to the schedule might help. I'm not gonna say it's gonna solve all the problems. I still think a lot of the time committed for conquest and the territory battles is kind of a bit much. So I don't know. Anyways, I was just a little disappointed to hear about the news of Sarah having to step away. You know, a lot of people liked her content, and you know, we've seen this over the course of time where, you know, just not even looking just from the entirety of the player base, but just like, you know, people you might have enjoyed watching, you know, like for example, Mobile Gamer. He stepped away. I think he had probably the most rageful exit out of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But, you know, even things like, you know, Cubs Van Han, you know, Sarah, AP Gaines, you know, moved on for, you know, a variety of different reasons out there. You know, the one thing I'll say is, I said, the door's always open. If I can get any sort of glimmer of light, it's this. You know, in the ashes of one leaving can grow the future of a new person to kind of step up to the plate and fill in that spot. If that makes any sense. You know, like, you know, a lot of the original Galaxy Series people, they left, but you know what, in their stead, someone else kind of rose through the ashes and new life comes to be. I guess it's kind of like how you have a, you know, a diverse forest environment, you know, something dies, new things grow, kind of that matter. Anyways, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. Maybe some of you guys, you know, like all the busy stuff. You know, again, I'm not saying there's no one. I think there's probably some people, but I think by and large, it's a lot of stuff that you got to do. The chores are pretty high in this game, my friends. And I feel like I really see it the most. Like, I feel it the most when I want to like plan my, you know, trip once a year or something like that. And you know, I'm busy all day. I'm out hiking, I have no signal, and then I finally get signal, and I'm like, I'm sorry, babe. I gotta sit here for an hour and a half doing my, you know, the territory battles. I gotta do my raids. I gotta do my conquest. It's more like probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's when I really feel it. Otherwise, you could maybe spread it out throughout the day, but even so, it's like, man, when you total all that up, it's like, that's a lot of time being spent. And I think at the minimum, people are gonna spend that much time, they wanna feel like they're getting a meaningful reward out of it. I don't know. That's just me. People, let me know your thoughts down below. Maybe you got some amazing high IQ suggestions that Capital Games can see and maybe not implement. But the most important thing is, my friends, thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you got a fantastic weekend ahead of you. And more importantly, until we meet again, it's great to be in the Empire today.